Hi friends, this is Dr. Afroz Alam. I have completed my PhD in bioinformatics, post-graduation in bioinformatics and Bachelor of Science in Botany. After my PhD, I have joined one university called Karunia University at Coimbatore. I have 11 years regular teaching experience at college and university level. I have been teaching many subjects including botany, zoology, molecular biology and genetic engineering, cell biology and many more subjects related to bioinformatics and biotechnology. During my association with Karunia University, I have guided 47 BTech project students, 23 MTech project students and 1 PhD student. I have worked different capacity at university level as a program coordinator of the department, as a head of the department, as a program officer in National Service Scheme, including I have experience in being as a warden and senior residence advisor in the hostels. My research area in terms of the plants and screenings of phytochemicals for particular disease and their treatment. So today I'll be talking about that protein structures. So this is one of the important topic in terms of biological levels, right? You should know their structure arrangement, the amino acid structures, their interactions, and what types of structures is available to study, because in view of many competitive exams, the questions will be definitely there from the protein structures. So we have objective of this learning is to understand the protein structures and their bonding interaction mechanism of amino acids. And we have also learning outcomes is to describe the structures of amino acids and chemical structures of protein. So at the end you will be learning about the protein structures, and you will be having sufficient knowledge about that amino acid structures, their interactions, and definitely you will be able to solve few questions based on your competitive exam. So here you can see that all amino acids have 4 different functional group which is attached with alpha carbon. So what do you mean by the alpha carbon? Alpha carbon is the carbons in which the 4 different functional groups are attached. This is also called the chiral carbon. So here you can say that in amino acid structures there are 4 different functional groups. One amino groups are there, another side chains R is there, another carboxylic acid group is there, and H will be there. So in amino acid structures the backbones will be always same, only changing will be there in the side chain R group, and that will represent different amino acids if R will be different. In place of R, if we add H, that will be the glycine, one of the smallest amino acids, So here we understand that the chiral carbon, alpha carbon, which is having 4 different functional group, and major constituent of the amino acid is amino group, carboxylic group, side chain and H. So this is the illustrations of amino acid, the structures of amino acids. Here you can say that in ballistic model how it looks like. So here is, you can see that 20 amino acids are there. 20 amino acids make up the protein. So combined of 20 amino acids which are attached, which form the protein, and out of 20 amino acids, 8 are essential amino acids which we take through our diet, and 9 amino acids infant takes, including one more histidine amino acids which consumed by the infant, 9 amino acids. So this is the one ballistic model of amino acid. So now we need to understand that here is that what type of interactions generally the protein structures have, right? So here we will be understanding their structural arrangements of all amino acids, how they are attached and what are the bonds are associated with that attachment. We need to understand that things. So 5 bonds and forces which determines really the structure of protein. One is that peptide bond. We will be learning these things in detail. Peptide bond, the bond which forms between the 2 amino acids after removing the water molecule, right? So this is one of that reactions are there, that is called the peptide bond. Hydrogen bonds which share the bond which form through the sharing of the electrons, right? Hydrogen bond, and that must be, and all the interactions usually happen at the atomic level. Atoms of the amino acids or atoms of the proteins which are really have the interactions through the bond and atoms. So hydrogen bonds is formed through that sharing of the electrons. Disulfide bond, one special amino acids in the protein have is cysteine, and cysteine have sulfur, one of the major atoms in that. So when sulfur of one amino acid, means cysteine, comes in contact with that another cysteine amino acids, then both the sulfurs are getting interacted and forming the bond, that is called that sulfur bond. 2 sulfur of the cysteine are forming that bond. So that is 2 sulfur, since this is 2 sulfur, so disulfide bond. So this bond is a special bond which is formed only between the cysteine amino acids. The ionic bonds also one of that bonds which are getting formed between 2 different charges atoms, positive charge and negative charged atoms. So that is called that ionic bonds, the bond which is formed due to that charge interactions. And hydrophobic bonds is a invisible bond, it's a weak bond. This bond will happen but we cannot visualize it due to the polarity of any atoms. So later we will understand these things. So here we say that peptide bond, how it is getting formed. So peptide bonds join amino acids. So always that bond forming will be the carboxylic acids of one amino acid with that amide group of another amino acids. So here you can say that amino acid 1 is there, amino acid 2 is there, and then for due to this interaction 2H and 1O getting released, H2O is getting released and forming one bond is called the peptide bond. And how? That's how the amino acids are getting attached and forming the peptide bond. So all 20 amino acids will be having the peptide bonds. And one more additional will be there, as I discussed before, is that disulfide bond between the cysteine, one of the amino acids are there. So bond at the both ends. So here is we need to understand that increase range of possible proteins, and that map is the 1.1 into 2 power 26 peptide can be formed from the 20 amino acids. This is one of the things we need to understand. So here you say that this is also the peptide formation is also called the condensation reactions. How it's condensed and removing water molecules and forming the bond, right? So this is called the a molecule of water removed from the two glycine amino acids. So smallest amino acids in place of R. In both the amino acid H is there. So by molecular weight, this is one of the smallest amino acids and forming the bond. So this type of bond is called the condensation reactions. So here you can say that primary protein structures is getting formed. This is called that linear amino acid. Primary protein structure is that all linear amino acids, right, which are attached with that peptide bond is called that primary structure, that is called the sequence of amino acids. So linear sequence of amino acids form the primary structures, and sequence essential for the proper physiological functions and their properties. So here we must understand that all 20 amino acids can be represented by 1 letter code and 3 letter code. So here we must know about 3 letter and single letter codes of all the amino acids, 20 amino acid, and we must memorize and keep in our mind always. Secondary structures. So now this formation, these amino acids which are primary structures, if they change their arrangements in three-dimensional space, you can say, and forming, and due to these torsions, it forms the secondary structures. So peptide chains fold into the secondary structures to become the more compact, right, due to that interactions between the amino acids, and due to these interactions the amino acids are rearranged in different dimensions, right, due to the interactions is getting rearranged in two-dimensional XY and forming that compact secondary structures. So this is two types of secondary structure, alpha helix and sheets, plated sheets we can say here. So how the alpha helix and sheets are getting formed in terms of the secondary structure. As we know that the bond formation will be that carboxylic groups and the amino groups, right, between. So here is that you can say that telephone cord shape of alpha helix, and it is getting formed that hydrogen bonds between the every NH group and the oxygens of the carboxylic group in the next turns, alternate arrangement, 1 and then next 3, 4, then so generally 10 to 12 amino acid forming the helices, right. So next terms of helices, 4 amino acid down the chains, so it will be alternate arrangement. You can say that one amino acids are getting attached with another amino acid, then next chain COH is getting interacted with NH2 of amino acid, and due to the interaction is forming like a coil shape, like telephone cord, because of these interactions, and they are changing their dimension in two-dimensional space. So this is one of the example of alpha helices. And beta sheet also, you can say that there are two types of beta sheets, parallel beta sheet, anti-parallel beta sheets. Here you can say that all the COH of one amino acid getting attached with the NH2 of another amino acids. So these are the sheets, parallel sheets, and forming that, and due to this interaction they are also changing their dimension in XY coordinate, so is forming the sheets. So this is one of the example of the beta sheets. So now tertiary structure, many secondary structures. So secondary structures, when it is compact structure, is called the motif. So motif is also is called the super secondary structures, and many motifs which is formed combinedly is called the domain, right. So even that super motifs like a group of motifs is called the domain. And what is motif? Motif is the super secondary structures. So tertiary structures are when secondary structures are getting change into three-dimensional space due to this interaction. So for tertiary structures, our alkyl groups have the major role to form the tertiary structures, right? Because in amino acid you say the COH bond is there, NH2 bond, NH2 is there, H is there, and R will be getting changed. And we must understand what is R, what are the atoms are in the R. R is one of the different compound, right, which will be attached with that alpha carbon of the amino acids. So secondary structures fold and pack together to form the tertiary structure using globular shapes. And tertiary structure stabilized by bonds between the R group, that is most important, that is called the side chains, right, that have the major role in forming the tertiary structure. So here we need to understand that what are the R group, and once different R group will attach with the protein with the amino acids, their property will be different, right? Their physiochemical property will be there, their function will be different, their protein structure will be different. So all amino acids contain carboxylic group and amino group. R group distinguish between the individual amino acids. So this is R group only which distinguish different amino acids. So R group makes them to different from one another. You say that this is phenylalanine if this you can see the highlighted compound is attached with alpha carbon, it's phenylalanine, and this is tyrosine, and this is tryptophan. So all these things are attached with that alpha carbon and their property is getting changed, even the structures are getting changed, and once it will interact with different amino acids, their orientation will get changed, right? So here you can say that amino acids backbone, constant backbones are there. What are the backbones of amino acids? Amino group, carboxylic group, and H, and that R only will be getting changed. So varying in the side chains will be there. Okay, and in side chains, what are the expected items will be there, right? That is not known, right? But you can say that some amino acids, if are cysteine, sulfur will be there, nitrogen will be there, benzyl group will be there, oxygen will be there, carbon will be there, hydrogen will be there, right? As we have mentioned before in that ball and stick representations, right? Hydrogens can be seen in white, nitrogen can be seen in blue, oxygen will be seen in red, right? Okay. Carbon can be seen in gray color. So these are different 20 amino acids having different physiochemical properties based on their different structural properties, based on their different structure, and structure because of that changing in R group, right? So here you can say that tertiary structures have the interactions in terms of the ionic interactions, and hydrogen bonds is getting formed between. So here the one of the atoms of this amino acids having positive charge, and another of the amino acids having the negative charge, and hydrogen bond is getting formed between these two different charged atoms, right? That is called that, and due to this tertiary structures are getting formed. So hydrogen bonds are weak electrical interactions between positively and negatively charged atoms of different molecules. Here you can say that tertiary structures, how the disulfides, as I mentioned before, the cysteine amino acid is one of the amino acids which are forming the disulfide bond that we say the disulfide bridge, right? Because why is disulfide bonds? Because the bonds between two sulfur atoms, right? This is also play the major role in forming the tertiary structures actually. If in our protein more than two cysteine amino acids are there, definitely the disulfide interactions and bridge forming definitely will be there, and that will make changes that amino acid structures, right, and forming the tertiary structures. And here also we can see that some of that ions which are already available in our tissues, cells, right, in body. So ionic interaction, and even that many R group also, right, side chains may have the different positive charge and negative charge atom, and due to that one amino acids can be interacted with another amino acid by forming the ionic bonds. So ions in R group form the bridge through the ionic bonds. Ionic bonds form the exchange of electrons between the atoms like NaCl. So suppose one amino acids of R group having Na, another amino acids of the R group having Cl. So definitely NaCl will be interacted, right, between the two amino acids and forming the bond, and due to this distortions, due to this change, due to these interactions, the tertiary structures will be getting formed. And here is that tertiary structures is getting formed due to the hydrophobic interactions, and some interactions are really weak interaction, that we can say the non-polar type of interactions which cannot be seen but interaction will be there, is called the hydrophobic interactions. So many amino acids may have type of weak interactions in terms of non-polar, it's not polar, non-polar atoms. So this is also one of the important type of interactions in the tertiary structures. So overall, what types of interaction which can be seen in that tertiary structures? So almost if you say that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 type of general interactions which we can see in the tertiary structures, and which are forming the globular shape. So first instructions will be the hydrogen bonds between that peptide groups, and then we can say that hydrogen between the side chains and peptide groups, and we can say the hydrogen bonds between the two side chains also, and then we can say the non-hydrophobic interactions between the two amino acids. These are non-polar type of interaction, cannot be seen. Ionic bonds between the two charged atoms of the amino acids, and the disulfide bonds, as I mentioned, between the two cysteine amino acids. And due to this, you can say the 6 type of interaction forces are exerting on that amino acids, and their structures are getting changed, and the change will happening in 3-dimensional space, and that is called the tertiary structures. And quaternary structures, when many tertiary structures are changing their dimension in 3-dimensional space and forming the big and complex structure, is called the quaternary structures. So quaternary structures, the arrangements of many tertiary structures into one large protein molecules. Not all proteins have or need quaternary structures, right? As this is some kind of special proteins are there which can be identified as a quaternary structures, like collagens, hemoglobins are quaternary structures, and that will allow for changes in the structures and the functions in response to the chemical stimuli, because many tertiary structures, their structure will be big, complex, large, because many tertiary structures are there, right? Many amino acids are there, right? Many type of interaction definitely will be there, right? So after this, we need to understand these things. We will be talking in next class about that functionality of the protein, functions of different proteins, and protein may work as a main structures component of the cells, because this protein is the building block. Our growth we can see due to the protein, right? So this is main structural component of the cells, right? Myosin for skin growth, right? So many other things, many proteins are there which are responsible for development of our tissues, cells, tissues, organ systems, and protein also can be treated as a mobile protein which can carry one chemicals from one tissue to another tissue, cells. So these are the motor proteins, right, and which have that major role in the movements of the chemicals like enzymes and hormones. And also already you know that all the proteins are enzymes, but all enzymes are not protein, right? Already you know these are the basic things. So all proteins are enzymes, so it work as an enzyme, and it work in the metabolic activities, right? It work in the reactions in catabolic anabolism, right? And also protein work as a antibodies, right? so which will fight with antigen in our bodies, in tissue cells, right? So many proteins are there and work as antibodies, and many proteins work as a hormone which will activate the reactions, right? And hormone, and many proteins work as a big protein, already you know that, quaternary protein, myoglobin, hemoglobin, and many protein work as a transporter, as a protein carry that bloods from one tissues to another, one cells to another, one organ to another organs, right? So now some questions are there you to understand that. If I say that, what is the name of the smallest amino acids? Yes, definitely glycine, because H is attached in lieu of R, and H is the smallest atoms in terms of the molecular weight, right? So glycine is that one of the smallest amino acids. So what will be the glycine structures? As you say that carbon will attach with different functional group, and what are the functional groups? COOH, NH2, H, and H, right? So you can see already I have shown to you, right? So that will be the smallest amino acids. Second question is that identify amino acids for the disulfide bond. Which amino acids is forming the disulfide bond? Yes, cysteine, because cysteine has sulfur. So two cysteine amino acids will be forming the disulfide bonds, right? Because bond between the two sulfur atoms. Second questions. Give one example of alpha carbon, where you can see the alpha carbon. Yes, in amino acids, right? So alpha carbon is attached with different functional group. In amino acid, what are different functional group? COOH, carboxylic group, amino group, NH2, H, and R. Yes, correct. So now sketch the amino acids. So now you can easily sketch the amino acid and identify the amino acids. Again the same thing. Yes. So C is attached with different 4 functional group. Yes, one is H, COOH, NH2, and R, side chain. Exactly. Wow, wonderful. Great. So here I'm closing my lecture today. So hope you will be going through and will be coming back for the next sessions. Tomorrow I'll be talking about that DNA structures, right? And some questions also I'll be asking from this topic, as well as that which I'll be discussing tomorrow. Thank you. Do you have any questions to ask? Yeah, I can take questions. I'll be happy to take questions, right? So hope you have understood today's class. If you have any questions, you can mail me, you can phone me, you can text me anytime. I'll be definitely will be responding your all the queries within 1 hour of time, right? If not, I'll be discussing in the next class. Thank you so much.